About time. Anywho, I'm going to do an interesting little video, and we're going to call this maybe episode 2 of the Let's Defend series. However, we're going to be doing it about a game series you may already know about. And if you've been living under a rock for the past 10 or so years, you have been, and I need to educate you. So, here goes. Back in we'll say, okay, maybe a little bit. We'll say about 1998, 1999. The fine folks at Tecmo decided they wanted to do something a little bit different with the fighting game genre. And what they did was that they started to develop a fighting game in which women would become more prominent on the roster as opposed to the men. Now, if you all played Street Fighter, yes, the women now are given just about an equal role. But if we all remember when the first game came out, the only character that was allowed to be used as a fighter that was female was Chun-Li. Anywho, in Street Fighter 2. Anywho, there's an interesting article, and I haven't read it, and I'm really going to do a follow-up on this, by the way, after it. But I got my latest issue of GamePro magazine, and in there, they had the feedback section or the inbox, and in there is a letter called or a section called "Defiant Descriptors." I'm going to read to you one of the letters, and I'm going to try and do this in under 10 minutes or 8 minutes rather. It says here, my wife and sister and other women I know all love Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, equating the overall experience to virtual Barbies. The mature rating, and they put mature in quotes by the way, on the series has always been subjective and based on a preconceived notion that the teenage boys are the title's core audience. The ESRB then takes the leap to rate the game, judging from what they believe the internal thoughts of those boys might be. When women play Extreme Beach Volleyball, everything in it comes across as completely innocent, and it's seen from an objective viewpoint. However, when my wife was carded as she purchased the sequel, we lost a bit of faith in the ESRB. Their rating game is based on what you might be thinking while playing a game instead of what you are thinking. And there's another and that letter was wrote by the user named Falcon X. There's another letter written by somebody in Germany named Alec Kovic, which is also pretty well wrote. Basically, here's something that people don't realize, and a lot of people might not. When the Dead or Alive series started on the PlayStation, the Dreamcast, and the PlayStation 2. The three games we're talking about are Dead or Alive, Dead or Alive 2, and Dead or Alive 2 Hardcore. All three games were rated T for teen. Okay? This is even with the fact that I believe it was in, it was, in Dead or Alive Extreme Beach, no, it's Dead or Alive Extreme Beach, in Dead or Alive 2 Hardcore, one of the unlockables was you had a gallery in which you could unlock, and the women were in provocative poses wearing nothing but bathing suits. But the game was still rated T for teen. When Extreme Beach Volleyball comes out, those same women who are wearing the same bikinis, somehow the game gets mysteriously, and I do mean mysteriously, rated M for mature. And I do believe Extreme 2, by the way, that wasn't Extreme Beach Volleyball 2, but it was called Extreme 2, I believe also was rated M for mature. Again, though, the same women wearing the same bikinis that just you can find as an Easter egg in the gallery of a PlayStation 2 game. Now, the trend for the Dead or Alive series being rated M for mature has not stopped. As a matter of fact, Dead or Alive 4, which came out for the Xbox 360, was rated M for mature. And I often wonder why. Okay, is it because of the fact that they're the women's, features, for lack of a better term, defy laws of physics? First off, they're covered. It's not like when you're watching Madison Paige's shower scene in Heavy Rain where you can actually see the nipple. The happy spot, the nipple, is actually covered. So, strike one there, ESRB. Here's strike two. I can see making Mortal Kombat an M-rated game when it came out. And by the way, I'll get into this sometime. People seem to think the ESRB was like the very first rating system, was the only rating system ever used. No, there was. If you actually want to know the chronology, Sega actually was the first company to, I believe, have its own rating system, which used 3 specific ratings: GA, MA13, MA17. Nintendo never used one. Okay, that's a misnomer. People keep thinking that Nintendo was the only, or excuse me, that the ESRB was the only rating system, and it wasn't. But that's another story for another time. Back to Dead or Alive. This game, there was real no blood, and there was real no nudity. Okay, wait, folks. Here's one of the things they put an M on: gambling. Could you imagine if the ESRB was out around the time Vegas Stakes and all those casino games came out for the Super Nintendo? Because of the fact that there's simulated gambling, there would be a T or an M-rated game for that reason alone. It's ridiculous. Okay, maybe not that, but it would come up with some reason to make a game rating that they didn't need to be. So we have a fighting game which for the most part is harmless, but because of the fact that and I can make this, I'm going to make an argument, I know I'm going to get shit for it, a good portion, I'm not going to say a majority, but a good portion of the people that play fighting games are men, and the fact that some of the main fighters in the game are women with the titties, the jugs, people get all bent out of shape over it, and all of a sudden we need to slap an M ring on the game. Actually, you don't. Because there's really no blood, there's no guts, nobody's getting dismembered, there's no fatalities. This isn't Mortal Kombat. This is Dead or Alive. A totally different game. I can see Ninja Gaiden being an M-rated game. Sure. No issue there. But when we look at the Dead or Alive series, and I think, I can't remember the rating offhand, so don't shoot the messenger, but I think when the Dead or Alive Ultimate series, Dead or Alive Ultimate double pack came out, I think that was M-rated too. If you want to correct me, do it down below in the comments, please, because I'm trying to remember that one. But my point is, for the majority of the series, it got a T rating. Until you got to the extreme games and even Dead or Alive 4, because you see a little, I mean, if you want to slap an M ring on a game, where there's God of War, there's Heavy Rain. I can think of many other games to put an M ring on people, and the Dead or Alive series ain't one of them. But then again, that's why it says let's defend, and this is my opinion. I want to know yours, and if you can give me if you can do it calmly and rationally, that's great. And I say that because I get the people that want to rip my head off for giving an honest opinion. Anywho, that's what I gotta say for you on this subject. Later.